Okay.
Hey guys. Okay, chalo. So let's get started without any further ado. And let me record this session on my end as well on my machine. Just a second. Right. So, as mentioned in today's class, we'll be going with a full-fledged demo on what the course Certified Ethical Hacking version 13 is. This is where we'll basically be focusing on the activities of an ethical hacker or a penetration tester in any organization. How do you test the security of your network endpoints, of your web applications, and other applications in the organization as well? Okay. But before that, a quick formal introduction on my end. My name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'll be a cybersecurity trainer and certified from EC Council in courses such as Certified Ethical Hacking, ECSA, EC Council Security Analyst, and a few certifications from Splunk. Splunk is a SIM tool, security information and event management tool. So I'm certified in that as well as Splunk Certified Cybersecurity Defense Analyst. Okay. My specialization is network and web pen testing, but I've also worked in the SOC analysis department as well earlier. Okay. And again, as mentioned, I've already been working in this domain for the last 6+ years. I've been training students for the last 5 years. I've been assisting students and getting certified in these various courses as well. Okay. And yeah, I think that's a brief intro on mine. Let's get started with the demo. So when you talk about this course, Certified Ethical Hacking version 13, this is the latest course from this organization called EC Council. It is one of the best organizations there available on the internet and in the world, based in California, and it is specializing specifically in training and certifying students in cybersecurity. The first go-to course is called Certified Ethical Hacking, and after that, you have your various specializations as mentioned. Okay. So when you talk about this course here, this is your first entry into cybersecurity where we'll cover everything from the very basics from scratch, okay, up to the intermediate level. Okay. And this course allows you to apply for all of these job roles: penetration tester, web application pen tester, network pen tester, cybersecurity auditor, security administrator, IT security administrator, security consultant, etc. etc. These are all the job roles that you can apply for once this course is done. Okay. And these are all the modules available, will be following the same exact curriculum, which is mentioned in the official website itself. And along with this, I've also included a few advanced topics and a few prerequisites as well. Okay. So in the official EC Council course curriculum, there are no prerequisites, there are no advanced SOC analysis topics or cyber forensics topics as well. I've included those as well in our course curriculum. Okay. And this is much more advanced. I'll be using and showing you the same exact tools which we work on in real time in cybersecurity organizations as well. I'm going to list out those tools. I'm going to show you them practically as well in today's class. Okay. So let's get started. When you talk about this course of certified ethical hacking, let's start our demo with the definition of what hacking is and what ethical hacking is. Because a lot of students have a misconception that they can be used interchangeably, which is kind of a bit wrong idea. Okay, let me define these terminologies. Okay, so first things first, when you talk about hacking, this is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. Now, these information systems could be anything. They could be as small as a mobile phone to as big as a web application server or a database or the entire cloud infrastructure as well. Right? So hackers try to get access to these endpoints without the permission and without the knowledge of the organization or the person owning those systems. Let's say if I've hacked your phone or your computer, it basically means I've complete control of your device and the data on it. I can steal your data, destroy your data, modify your data, or exfiltrate and sell your data to other people without your consent and knowledge. Okay. And this is usually done by hackers for their own benefit, for financial gains, or even for the thrill of it. Okay. Now, if hacking is such a malicious activity, why do we have a course called ethical hacking? And how is this getting ethical in the first place? To define ethical hacking, on the other hand, this is the concept of basically finding vulnerabilities. Okay. Now, you might have a question: isn't this something related to pen testing? Okay. A penetration tester or an ethical hacker is one and the same guy who's basically testing the security of every endpoint or every application by finding the vulnerabilities or loopholes in them. Okay, so ethical hacking is the procedure of finding vulnerabilities or loopholes in information systems or the applications with the consent and with the knowledge of the organization. So you're working hand in hand with the organization, following all the exact protocols, again, following all the limitations and boundaries set by the organization, and simulating the same attacks like a real hacker. And this is done in order to report the vulnerabilities that you find. So once you know what vulnerabilities are available and which can be exploited, you report it back to the company so that they can apply the necessary security updates or the security patches. And once that is done, there's no more further vulnerabilities to exploit and there's no further cyber threats that could occur. So you're preventing the organization from any sort of harm that the actual cyber criminals can cause by finding the vulnerabilities first, remediating them, and keeping the systems secure. Okay. Is that clear? Any questions or doubts up to this point? Anyone?
No doubts from us.
Perfect. Now, moving on, after these definitions, we can categorize the different types of hackers as well. So there are three broad categories or the most popular categories, which are called as white hat hackers, gray hat hackers, and black hat hackers. Your black hat hackers are typical cyber criminals who perform hacking for their own benefit without asking for consent. Okay, these are the cyber criminals itself. On the other end of the spectrum, we have white hat hackers. White hat hackers are your ethical hackers or penetration testers who abide by the laws and policies of the company and they work for securing the company's infrastructure. Okay, they're also commonly known as ethical hackers. Okay, and in between, there's a third mysterious category called gray hat hackers. Now, these are people who have both the qualities of black hat as well as white hat. Like a black hat hacker, they don't ask for permission first, but once they find a vulnerability, they report it back to the company. Although there's a minor catch here, they don't do this for free. They do it in return for a bounty. A bounty is like a financial reward they expect in return for reporting that vulnerability rather than misusing it. So therefore, they're working both offensively and defensively at various times. Hence, they're called as grey hat hackers. Okay, and they are also commonly known as bug bounty hunters, hunting for bugs or vulnerabilities in applications or systems in return for a bounty. Okay, and no matter what hacker you take here, black hat hackers, grey hat hackers, or white hat hackers, your ethical hackers, they follow a certain framework to have a systematic procedure of finding these vulnerabilities and that framework is called as cyber kill chain. This was invented by the US military in the late 1990s or so. Not exactly sure about the date on that, but this is the same framework that is still followed till date by every organization imported from that military framework itself. Okay. Over the years, this framework has been updated with the latest trends and changes in the cybersecurity area. Okay, but there are five steps which have always remained the same. Although the procedures in those steps might have changed, the framework still stays intact. Okay. To define this, the cyber kill chain is the procedure that basically is followed by hackers or cyber criminals to perform a successful cyber attack. So when this procedure is followed, the probability of the attack occurring and being successful is very, very high. Okay. And the same procedure also allows cybersecurity professionals or ethical hackers to understand what these attacks are, how these attacks are being performed, to detect them at the earliest time possible, and also preventing them at every level in the organization. The main important point to notice here is unless and until you know what attacks are actually possible and what the logic of these attacks is or how they are being performed, you would not know what defenses to place and where to place them to prevent these attacks. So, in order for you to be a good ethical hacker, you need to actually know how these attacks are being performed. Only then you would know how to prevent them as well. Okay. And this cyber kill chain framework, as mentioned, consists of five core steps. First step is called as information gathering. Second step is called as scanning. Third step is gaining access. Fourth step is maintaining access. And the last step is reporting or clearing traces. Okay. So now I'm going to briefly explain about each of these steps one by one with small practicals as well so you have a better understanding about this course. Okay. Again, please do let me know, guys, if I'm going too fast or if my audio is not clear. I hope everything is fine. Any questions or doubts up to this point? Oh, is the voice not clear, guys?
Yes, it's clear. So, it's better
Okay,
from yesterday.
it's a little bit low, right, Love? Come on. Uh, okay, I'll look into this just a second. Mm, okay, otherwise, other than that, it seems fine, right? Okay, I'll just try to speak a bit louder as well, Love Kumar. Do let me know if it is still not audible. If so, okay. Okay, guys. Right, coming back to this again. I hope it's clear for the others as well. Sadik, Akhil, Satyajit, Tulsi, Yashoda.
Yes, it's clear for
So,
me.
so, so, sir, you are saying cyber kill chain is nothing but it will stop the hacking, right? We'll follow
Again,
this
stop the
type of
hacking
process.
as well as also learning how to perform the attacks in the first place, Satyajit.
Okay.
Okay,
It
you're
will do
learning how.
both side.
Yes,
Stop as well
both.
as how to follow the process and
Right.
stop. Yeah.
So, in simpler terms, you're learning both the offense and the defense. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
You're learning the offensive attacks and the defensive measures to apply to prevent those attacks. Okay.
Okay.
So let's get into this now, one by one. We'll learn what these steps are in this exact framework. Okay. So first
But
things first.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
so by reading first four uh, points in this cycle,
Mm-hmm.
gathering information, scanning, gaining access,
Mm-hmm.
and maintaining the access.
Mm-hmm.
So up to these 4 points, I think this is a cyber attack only. How we are preventing by this step.
Because as you know what these attacks are, then eventually
Mhm.
you're learning how to apply the defense measures as well. So what is the vulnerability leading to that attack is also going to let you know what patch to apply appropriately or what misconfiguration is leading to it. So once you know the misconfiguration or the missing patch, you know what to apply and how to prevent it as well. And that is what is conveyed to the team or the organization in the last step, in the reporting phase, if you notice. So there's a reporting phase where we'll exactly show how we perform the attack. That is called the POC, proof of concept. And then we'll also provide the solutions as well. Okay. What
Could you please
configuration?
explain defensive mechanism using this chain? As
Sure, sure.
as looking at this, I can see that this is for attack only. Means
Right,
offense only.
definitively. Again, this is all about you attacking the systems. And at
Hmm.
every step, at every phase, when you're attacking every single endpoint, I'll also show you the defensive measures as well. So even if you
Okay.
notice this entire actual curriculum from EC Council as well, Sat, you notice
Hmm.
all of these are attacks itself. You're scanning networks, you're performing
Hmm.
system hacking, there's malware threats, there's sniffing,
Hmm.
social engineering, denial of service, session hijacking. You don't see any defensive topics mentioned here. But the thing is, with
Yes.
every attack there, you're also learning how do you prevent those attacks. Session
Hmm.
hijacking detection methods. Okay, how do you detect it
Hmm.
and how do you prevent it as well? So the defense measures are included in every topic simultaneously. No matter what
Hmm.
topic you take, you can see the countermeasures are included in every single step. Okay, detecting web server hacking attempts, web server security tools. Okay, so every step involves the offensive part and the defensive techniques as well.
So, will these conventional steps uh, followed to address that hacking issue? Because hackers are always one step ahead of developers. No?
Not really. The thing is, the developers are one step behind. Okay. The reason is they're not applying the security protocols. Okay. They're not following or coding it or applying the configurations according to the security perspective. Hackers are never one step ahead. The point is they are just knowing the security aspect as well. So we as cyber professionals are trying to make the companies aware of what possible threats are occurring in today's world. Okay. So them being a step ahead is just them having some extra knowledge on what is possible when they are not concerned about the security perspective. And that's what we do as cyber
No, no,
professionals.
no.
Make them
Developer
aware.
also thinks about security perspective. They apply authentication authorization at gateway level. So they do think about the security, but I think hackers think extra or more than that developers. So that's why
It's
I
all
said
about thinking out of the box, right, Sadik? So, for example, if
mm,
I show you a page here, now just by looking
mm,
at a page, one second, let me do one thing. So, if I show you a practical example for this, now there's this website here called
mm,
Star Conquer, an actual live website. I found a
okay.
vulnerability in this page. So, now just by looking at this page, what do you think could be a possible problem with it?
First of all, the problem is with UI. Buttons are not placed correctly,
Put
And
below anything, security wise.
security wise, okay. So admin login. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, I can't see anything.
Nothing, right? Because again,
Nothing.
from a developer's
Yeah.
perspective, there seems to be no
Uh,
issue. Now,
hmm,
internally, we have access to the application as well, then maybe you might get a better idea. But as a
hmm,
hacker's perspective, the one thing you will
hmm,
do is, what if there's an
hmm.
input field and this input field is expecting us to enter basic usernames and passwords? I have to enter a
Yes.
username, I have to enter a password, and if that is
Hmm,
correct, I get the access, right? But what a hacker would
hmm,
do is he would think out of the box. Now, this input field here is a login, is input field for a login page. And if
hmm,
there are
hmm,
credentials over here, this might be connected to a database on the backend. If there is a database in the backend, it might be accepting SQL queries as well. So from a security point of view, you're expecting this should not accept SQL queries. Okay. If
hmm.
it is accepting SQL queries, hackers can write malicious SQL queries to bypass authentication. Okay. So now what I can do is I can enter a query like single quote or one equal to one hyphen hyphen. Now in today's class, I might not be able to explain what that query is or what the logic for it is. That might take slightly
Hmm,
longer. But from a
hmm.
hacker's perspective, he would look into it and think, okay, since this is connected to a database on the backend, I can inject a payload like this. This is called an SQL injection payload. And I can
Okay.
copy the same thing and paste it here. And now when I click on enter, carefully
Hmm.
observe what happens.
Oh,
I've got admin access. I didn't know the credentials for admin. I didn't know the password for admin. But I've got an admin access on a live website right now here. That should not have happened.
you mean to say if developer has added some validation about that username and password,
Right, exactly.
still
So
still it's
that is
overriding that the validation at application level, and it's
exactly. So the
and
developer might not be familiar that there should be an extra step added of sanitization. These special characters like single quotes, equal to symbols, hyphen hyphen symbols are something which are very
hmm,
commonly used in SQL programming, right? So if the
okay.
developer is not careful to sanitize the input that is entered in input fields, hackers would try to think out of the box and they'll try to inject malicious queries which can bypass
No,
authentication.
no, no. Developer also use this input validation by using regular expression. We only allow alphabet and numbers only. In case
If
of
that
any
were
special character, we need to take sign up from cybersecurity team as well here. So
right, exactly. There's a necessity there, right? So this
yeah,
is a live website. This is not a testing
without sign
website
up
here.
of cybersecurity, we won't allow any special character in our application.
Hmm.
So
But
they
again,
might.
that's the objective, right? So we are learning what the vulnerabilities are. We are telling the developers this is what is possible in the first place, just in case
Mhm.
if they're missing out certain steps. Now, from a developer's perspective, he's already busy with developing the applications in the most efficient way. But he might
Mhm.
sometimes falter at the security level. And that is where we
Mhm.
come in and show them what they might have missed out there. Right?
Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
objective, isn't it? Hello, Sadiq, are you there?
Yes, 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 yes. It's clear now.
Right. Okay, moving on. So again, as mentioned, guys, so if I come back to my documentation here, so the first step here is basically, so sorry. Any questions or doubts on the other side as well up to this point? Anyone else? Okay, moving on. So when we talk about the cyber kill chain, guys, the first step is information gathering. And this is also commonly known as reconnaissance or footprinting. Different names of the same objective terminology, guys. And the objective here is you gathering as much information as possible about your target organization. So from a hacker's perspective or a cyber professional perspective, first step is you researching what data is available publicly about your organization and checking if there's any sensitive information available as well or not, okay, which would lead to cyber threats. So the main objective here is you using various resources on the internet to get information about your target domain or your target organization. And all the data is obtained passively. What I mean by passively is you're not contacting the organization there, you're getting all the information from third party sources. But the main question that arises here is what kind of information are you looking for? What do you need to obtain here? And this here is the information as follows. You're getting the IP addresses, you're getting the network blocks, you're getting the who's records, you're getting the DNS records, the domains and subdomains, operating system information, employee details, contact numbers, etc., etc. Sometimes also usernames and passwords of these employees. which might have been leaked in data breaches online. Okay, so what are those data breaches? How do you access those data breaches? How can you get those usernames and credentials and verify if those are still working or not? Is what we learn here in the information gathering phase. If I have to show you a small practical for this, for those who are not present in the session yesterday, I've shown this website earlier as well called DNS Dumpster. So if I go to my browser here and if I search for DNS Dumpster, this is a very popular website in the cybersecurity circle. It's to get you the DNS records. Now, might not be able to explain completely about DNS in today's class. I will do that in the upcoming sessions without fail. But just to give you a better understanding, a DNS server contains or links the records of a web server or any server for that organization with its IP addresses. So every domain you see on the internet, google.com, bing.com, subdomains of Google, whatever it be, every domain has a linking to an IP address in the backend. It's hosted on a web server or a physical server, some sort of server, which has a public IP to it. Okay. And that linking is done in a DNS server. So if I enter a domain here, like let's say tesla.com, okay, and if I hit enter, now this shows all the DNS records for Tesla. So these are all the web servers of Tesla, different servers of Tesla, and their exact correlating IP addresses. Okay, these are the IP addresses of the servers on which those websites are hosted. Okay, we as hackers or ethical hackers use the output of the stage as the input for the next stage. So in the next stage of scanning, we scan these exact public-facing devices on these IP addresses itself, and we try to figure out some extra information. Okay, so these are the web servers, then you have the mail servers, then you have the DNS servers, and all this information is shown in a very simple graphical format as well over here, how these devices are interlinked with each other. Okay, so this is the entire public facing device image of Tesla's organization. Okay. As a pen tester, you have to see to it that all of these boxes are checked. Any of these boxes should not contain a vulnerability which can be exploitable. Okay, that's where cybersecurity team comes into the play. Okay, you as a cyber professional are verifying that whatever information is displayed by the organization does not lead to any cyber threats in the first place. Okay, you might have a question, and I think I've clarified this question in earlier demos as well. If this information is being openly displayed, why is it being displayed in the first place? It's like, again, with the same analogy of your home address. You cannot hide your home, you cannot cover it and not give your address to anyone. You need to, again, have traffic to your home. You have couriers coming, you have your relatives coming, whatnot, right? So you have to display your address to everybody. The thing is, your house needs to be secure even when you're not present at it. Okay, it needs to be secure that there's no unauthorized access to your house, okay, without your knowledge. Okay, similarly, these IP addresses, these domains are supposed to be visible so the customers or the clients can connect to the organization's services. Okay, but the thing is, no matter what information is being displayed, none of this information here should be attackable, should be exploitable in any way. That's what we do as cyber professionals, checking every single endpoint, every single public facing application or public facing device or server. Okay. Oh, was someone asking a question? I heard someone's mic unmuted. Okay. Anyways, please do let me know if you have any questions, guys. Do not hesitate. I do not mind the interruptions. Okay. Please ask your questions as you go. Okay.
Yes, I do have
Moving
a
on.
question, Shoaib.
Oh, yeah. Sadik. Go ahead.
Yeah, regarding DNS only, as you said, I don't have that much knowledge on networking. So you said DNS and IP address map to it. So
Mhm.
and public IPs and private IPs you said. Uh, so just wanted to elaboration about that. Uh,
No worries.
can we map multiple IPs, public IPs to one DNS domain name or like that, or how public IPs are mapped with private IPs, and
Don't
can
worry.
we
Again, that
can
is
we
too
show
much of
private
a
IPs?
in-depth concept, Sadik. But just to clarify one small thing, there is a topic called networking fundamentals. If I just show you that as well. Mm, class presentation docs. And this is the first topic we'll be covering in the next session tomorrow. This is a prerequisite actually. Okay. Since not
Right.
everyone is from a technical background, we'll be covering
Mhm.
complete network fundamentals. What are public IPs? What are private IPs? What are IPv4 addresses? Properties of IPv4 addresses. Okay. We'll be covering everything in detail. Okay. One domain can have multiple IPs linked to it. Okay, so we have
Okay.
something called CDNs, Content Delivery Network. So the same website, Tesla.com, can be hosted on different multiple servers, and these servers can have different unique public IPs. Okay, so that linking between those domains and multiple IPs, linking between public and private IPs, every single thing will be covered. Again, as mentioned, this is not done in the official EC Council curriculum. I have added it myself to put that extra effort to make students understand everything in depth. Okay. So without
Okay.
networking fundamentals, it's quite tough to understand cybersecurity because every server has a public IP or a private IP internally in the network, okay, for local devices. And that linking is very important to know. It's important to know
Mm.
some important networking protocols also. What is your DNS protocol? What is your DHCP protocol? What is an FTP protocol? What is SSH, secure shell connections? What is telnet? Okay, what are the insecure protocols, what are the secure protocols. We'll be covering everything in detail. Okay, so do not worry,
Mm.
this course has no prerequisites because I have made that effort to put those prerequisites in the course. Okay, so you
Okay.
learn everything from scratch. All you need
Okay.
is just a working device to perform these practicals on. Okay, so learn everything in depth. So don't worry, I'll explain all those networking things in the upcoming sessions. Okay.
Okay, fine. So that's why we call IP range instead of one IP, no? In terms of DNS, we provide IP range, or is it different?
Yeah, again, there are multiple different classes of ranges IP addresses there. And when you talk about
Mm.
DNS, it's just about linking one domain to a one public IP, okay, or multiple public IPs. But yeah, there is a range of IPs assigned to every domain. Okay, so yeah, on the same page actually. Sadik.
Now, okay, as you mentioned, we need working devices. So whatever device it we require means I have Windows system and Android
Don't worry.
mobile.
I'm gonna come to that, Sadik. I'll explain what the proper
So do I
configuration.
need that iOS mobile and iOS system as well?
No. Not at all required. Don't worry. I'll show you what
Oh,
setup is required as well.
okay, okay.
Okay.
No, I can arrange with my friends as well. No issues. But if it is required, I will.
Sure. Definitely. Okay. So moving on, that's about information gathering, guys. We are obtaining this information. And that information again is utilized in the next phase. So this is where we perform something called scanning. Scanning is where you get some extra data, but by making active and aggressive connections. Earlier we got the data passively, guys. Here we get the data actively. What I mean by actively is you use certain cyber security related tools to perform or make direct connections with the target. There are tools like Nmap, there's tools like Nexpose, there's tools like Tenable Nessus, etc., etc. And these tools can be used to perform various categories of scanning. There's something, excuse me, called as network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning. Network scanning is where you're trying to figure out in the internal organization what devices are active. So again, how many servers do they have? What categories of servers do they have? Do they have firewalls? Do they have intrusion detection systems? Do they have intrusion prevention systems? Getting to know their internal network topology is network scanning. Okay. For that, we'll be using a very popular tool called Nmap. So no matter what job description you check, this tool will mandatorily be included in that. Okay, they'll ask you again questions on Nmap in interviews and okay and in any cybersecurity certification exams as well. It's a very huge tool. It's been there since 1997. Okay, and still it is one of the best tools available for network and port scanning. We'll practically be working on this. And then after that, you have vulnerability scanning. This is where we find vulnerabilities on devices and misconfigurations. And this is done with another tool called Tenable Nessus. So if I show that tool as well, this is the official website for it. Okay. And now this is not a free open source tool, guys. This is quite expensive actually. It's around $7,000 or so, that too for 1 year subscription. But don't worry, luckily for us to learn about it, there's a trial version as well. Okay. And I have the same tool installed on my system as well. Let me show you what it looks like. So I have the admin access to this. And this is what your Tenable Nessus application looks like. You can perform various types of scans here: network scans, advanced scans, web application scans, Active Directory scans, cloud scans, LLM scans, etc. etc. Okay. Once scans are done, it generates a report as well, telling which system contains what category of vulnerabilities. And these vulnerabilities are categorized depending on the impact of them: critical, high, medium impact, low, and information based. In an organization, you should never have critical, high, or medium vulnerabilities, guys. If they do exist, the company is definitely going to face a cyber threat very soon. Okay. So we'll practically learn how to check this report. Okay. How do you create this report? How do you initiate an automated scan and go through this report? Okay. We'll cover that in the vulnerability scanning. All I'm trying to show here is basically whatever we work on in the upcoming sessions is going to be hands-on with the same tools that are used in real-time organizations. In my company as well, they're using the same exact Nessus application. Okay, we'll be working on it hands-on. Once you know what vulnerabilities exist, on that we go over to the next phase, gaining access. So this is the phase where the real hacking occurs. So attackers are now going to use the vulnerabilities they found to attack certain applications or certain systems or the entire network. Okay, so uh, Nmap itself, Nmap can be used for both network and port scanning. Love. Right. Okay. Coming back to this again, this is the main, I would say, the core topic of this entire course. Covers a vast variety of topics here, as you can see. Let me explain each of these one by one now. Oh, just a second. I think there's questions. Okay, nothing as such. Now, moving on, as mentioned, when you talk about the gaining access module here, guys, this is where you're trying to attack and defend every single endpoint. So first, we talk about system hacking. Okay. Now, when basically a cyber threat occurs, the hacker tries to maintain access to your system as long as he can without getting detected. But just in case, if he gets a hint that someone is running scanners, or then he might get detected, what he does is he tries to erase the evidence from your devices and he locks you out of your own computer. Okay, he might change your system's password or completely alter it so that you cannot access your system again. Okay, so in such a case, we need to know how do you crack that password or bypass that password to get access back to your data. So in system hacking, we learn how do you attack and crack any system password and get back to your data access. Okay, that's system hacking, cracking or bypassing passwords. Cracking is you getting to know what the exact password is. Bypassing is where, without even knowing what the password is, you're still accessing your internal system data. So we'll learn both the methods. Then comes malware attacks. 85% of cyber threats today are running because of malwares. Okay, your systems get attacked most of the times when you're clicking on unknown links from unknown sources or clicking on basic attachments in emails. Okay, all of these might contain malwares, malicious softwares, and there's multiple categories of malwares. There's viruses, there's worms, there's trojans, spyware, whatnot. We'll practically learn how to create viruses, how to defend our system from viruses, and how to detect them if they're already installed in our system discreetly. Then there's a bonus concept called malware's advanced. Now, this is something which I have included as a bonus, guys. If you're already a developer or if you already have Python development language knowledge, you can use this to learn how to write malwares in Python. Now, this is not a mandatory topic. I've included this just for developers' sake. Okay, this is not a curriculum topic from EC Council, neither from me. I just included for interest of developers. Okay, if you want, you can learn how to write your own malwares with Python. I'll be sharing the resources for that. Okay. Then there's network pen testing, basically performing various attacks in a local network. Attacks like sniffing attack, man in the middle attack, denial of service attacks, hacking Wi-Fi routers, cracking the password for Wi-Fi routers. All of this belongs to network pen test. Network pen test. Okay. These attacks allow you to capture the data of other users in a network or shut down remote servers by overloading them with traffic or crack Wi-Fi router passwords and access others' networks illegally. Okay, so we'll be learning how these attacks are performed and what are the reason for these attacks occurring. What is the misconfiguration leading to these attacks? We'll be covering both of that. Okay. Then we have social engineering, something which is very common in today's world. Attacks like phishing attacks, voice over phishing attacks, or smishing attacks, SMS message attacks. This is where, in all these three common attacks, what the hacker does is he tries to send fake messages, okay, with fake web pages as well. And that page is going to look like an exact replica of the original page. So it could be your bank login page, your employee login page, a social media page, anything would look the exact same page. Okay, and if you enter credentials in that, those go to the attacker directly. So we'll practically learn how do hackers create these fake websites. Okay, and how do you distinguish between a genuine one and a fake one. Okay. Then comes hacking web servers and web applications. So just like I've explained, your websites sometimes contain vulnerabilities on them. just like this, which we have seen, SQL injection. So what is this vulnerability? Why is this vulnerability existing? Is it an issue on the web application, on the front end, or on the back end? Is it an issue on the web server? We'll practically understand every single vulnerability. So there's a framework called OWASP top 10 framework, guys. A very popular framework used by pen testers for web and mobile pen testing. So we'll be covering some vulnerabilities in this framework in the ethical hacking course. Okay. So this shows you the top 10 vulnerabilities that exist in web applications. Every year there's a, or every few years, there's a survey conducted. And according to that survey, oh, just a second. Where is the list? I think the site is down for a minute. 1 second.
Yeah, hi Shoaib.
Oh,
We
here
have
it is.
the
These are the
same
top 10
malware creation
vulnerabilities.
in Java as well, as you mentioned in Python.
Sorry, come again. Your voice got cut.
Sorry, I'm audible now?
Yeah, you're audible now. You were saying?
I was asking, you have mentioned that you have malware creation script or like that in Python. Do you have that in Java as well?
Yeah, we can do it in Java as well. I don't have the resource for that, Sadik, but I can search and give it to you back. That's not a problem.
Okay.
If you're a Java developer and if you need something with that, I have the
Mhm.
resources to do so. Okay, I'll share those. Not an
Sure,
issue.
sure, please,
Okay.
please. Yeah.
So again, as mentioned, guys, when you talk about the OWASP top 10 framework, these are the top 10 vulnerabilities which are supposed to be tested by web application pen testers. We'll be covering almost all of these. Okay, some most important ones: injection, insecure design, security misconfiguration, and broken authentication vulnerabilities, broken access control, etc., etc. As you can see, I've listed them out here. Okay, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, okay, session management or vulnerabilities, file upload vulnerability, and much more. So we'll be learning a major chunk of your gaining access module is about web application pen testing as well. Okay. And then comes hacking web, basically firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and intrusion prevention systems. Now you might have a question. These are the devices which are supposed to implement security. Can they be hacked as well? Yes, definitely. If these devices are not configured properly, you can easily bypass them, which is called as evading techniques. Okay, so I'll show you what those evading techniques are. How do you bypass them if they're not configured right? And what are the proper configurations to implement there? Okay. Then there's vulnerability assessment, a very important topic. Okay, this is one of the most important topics, I would say. This is where you verify the vulnerabilities. So whatever vulnerabilities are shown to you in the Nessus tool here, like these, okay. If you scroll down, you can see it shows exploitable with. So it tells you you can use these tools to verify if this vulnerability is actually working or not. So if you take this vulnerability, for example, it says that this server is running a version of the service called Unreal IRCD, and this is allowing a backdoor. Backdoor is where attackers can execute any code of their choice on that system remotely. Okay, but you just can't blindly trust the report, and you can't submit it to the organization. You have to verify. So there are tools like Metasploit framework or Canvas core impact, etc., etc. These tools allow you to actually understand how to attack on that vulnerability. Okay, so this vulnerability uses something called an exploit. Okay, you can copy this name, you can go to your browser, and you can search for exploit. And you can see we get some websites here: Rapid7, Tenable, ExploitDB, etc., etc. So this is the malicious code that is written by hackers or pen testers to attack on those vulnerabilities. And what we do as pen testers is verify this code and exactly implement it in a tool called Metasploit. And then we try to attack with that code. And if the attack is successful, if we are able to execute the code, and if we are able to get remote connection, then we tell them that this vulnerability is true. So that is you assessing every vulnerability and verifying if it is actually true or not. So that is called as vulnerability assessment. There's another name given to it, VAPT, vulnerability assessment by penetration testing. This is what it is. You verify every vulnerability by attacking or performing penetration test on it and assess the vulnerability, if it is true or if it is a false positive. This is what every penetration tester or ethical hacker needs to know. And we'll be practically working on that. Okay. And for that, we'll be working with a tool called Metasploit framework. So we have an operating system called Kali Linux. Okay. And in that, there's this tool called Metasploit Framework. So I'll practically show you how to use that tool also. Okay. Then we have the final topic called hacking mobile phones, where we basically learn how to attack Android phones and get remote connections to them. In this course, CEH from EC Council has cleverly excluded iOS hacking. They have included it as a separate course altogether. But don't worry, I'll be providing the resources and the techniques to attack iOS devices as well. Okay, so that is another bonus concept I've included. So the main agenda in the gaining access module is, as a penetration tester, you have to know how to attack every single endpoint. We talk about system security, we talk about network security, we talk about wireless security, we talk about web server security, web application security specifically, and firewall security and mobile phone security as well. As small as a device from mobile phone to as big as web application servers or databases or the entire cloud infrastructure, we'll be learning how to attack every single endpoint. Once that is done, then you have the next module called maintaining access. Okay. So that is where we learn how to maintain persistent connections, which means if I've attacked your phone or your computer, even if you restart your device, I should still be connected to you. That's called you maintaining or retaining the ownership. Okay. That's what we learn in maintaining access. And finally, we have reporting or clearing traces, where we learn, as a cyber professional, how do you generate a report with all the proof of concepts or the techniques used, and also provide the solution for every single vulnerability to eradicate those vulnerabilities. On the other hand, if you're a cyber criminal, you don't report anything, you remove the evidence of your actions. So we learn what are the logs that attackers go after, what logs do they delete, how do we detect those detected logs, okay, how do we capture that, okay, we'll be learning all that in clearing traces part. Okay, so how do hackers stay anonymous, okay, and delete the logs so that they cannot be traced back, is what we learned there. Okay, so the entire course is going to run on two simultaneous tracks. We'll be learning all the attacks, and with every attack I'll also show you what is the defense to apply there. Okay, and as mentioned, before we dive into all of these advanced concepts, we'll be learning networking fundamentals. We'll learn all the important networking protocols. We'll be learning Linux commands, okay, because as mentioned, we need to install an operating system called Kali Linux. So I'll practically show you what Kali Linux is. How do you install it? How is it different from our Windows operating system that we regularly use? Okay. What is the architecture for Linux? Okay. What are the important directories in Linux? And what are the important commands in Linux? We'll learn practically every single command. So I'm going to show you everything in detail. I'll make you comfortable with the environment first, even the Linux environment, and then we'll practically move on to the actual hacking steps. Okay. So this is the operating system, one of the best operating systems there. Don't trust my word for it. You can actually visit the official website, or you can also ask ChatGPT as well. What is the best operating system there available for cybersecurity? And they'll always point you to Kali Linux there. Okay, one of the best ones there. Okay. The reason why it is best is it comes pre-installed with all the pen testing, all the cyber forensics, all the reverse engineering tools pre-installed in it. Okay. So almost 600 plus tools are pre-installed in Kali, and we'll be working with almost the most major ones which are used in real time. Okay. We'll be coming across all these tools in the upcoming sessions: Burpsuit, Aircrack, FF, Wireshark, SQL Map, Nmap, Metasploit Framework, John the Ripper, Hydra. We'll be working with all of these tools in the upcoming sessions, guys. Okay. So the course is for a duration of 35 to 45 days. Okay. And we'll have classes every day for 1 hour each from Monday to Friday. And the batch starts from tomorrow itself at 8 o'clock at the same time. In tomorrow's class, which will be the first class, we'll be covering networking fundamentals. Okay. So, and again, one more thing, every session is recorded. You'll be getting the recordings, you'll be getting this PDF documentations, you'll be getting the notes, everything is already prepared. And along with that, you'll also be getting the official material from EC Council. This material is only provided if you, pay for the certification. But don't worry, I already have access to the material, the official courseware material from EC Council, and I'll be providing that exact material as well, okay, included in the course price. Okay. So yeah, that's that. Nothing further. Any queries or questions, guys, on your end? Sadik, Akhil, Satyajit, Tulsi, Yashoda, Lav Kumar.
Yes, I
Oh
do.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, love first.
Oh, 1 second, guys. Sadik, 1 second. The voices are getting overlapped. Yeah, Lav Kumar. Please go ahead. Good question. So if I have to give you an exact ratio, Lav Kumar, the course is almost in an 80-20 ratio. Only 20% of the course is theoretical. In every session, if you have a 1 hour session, I'll take the first 15 minutes theoretical topic explaining what the topic is about. And the remaining 35 to 40 minutes, we'll be covering the practical aspect of it. This is a very practically oriented course, no theory nonsense. Will be working exactly with the same techniques and with the same tools as real pen testers in real time organizations. Okay, so a very practically implemented course. Only the first few prerequisites, basic networking fundamentals, are a bit theoretical. Okay, but once we start the lab setup installation and the Linux commands, from there it's all completely practical itself. Only the first topic, networking fundamentals, is a bit theoretical. Okay, nothing more than that. Okay.
I have one question regarding this one. Is it comes under vulnerability
Once
is a SAST or DAST report?
Tulsi, 1 second. I'm so sorry. I'm pretty sure you're unable to hear. I'm connected on two different meeting links actually. So you're unable to hear the
Okay.
other two voices. But yeah, 1 second, Tulsi. I'm coming back to you. Yeah, love. So as
Okay.
mentioned, our entire course is going to be focused on Kali itself. There are some tools which will be working separately on Windows also. Okay. So almost 75% of our work should be done in Kali. And there are some commercial tools, okay, paid applications which will install in Windows. Okay. So don't worry. Again, it's 75-25 ratio there as well. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, love? Yeah. Sadik, you were asking a question as well. And Tulasi, then you can ask your question as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, as I mentioned, there is a SAST and a DAST reports, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Is
Starting
it
analysis,
comes
security
under
testing,
this?
and
Yeah, this is comes under SAST or DAST?
DAST, DAST itself. We are not going to go with source code review anywhere, Tulsi. It's mostly dynamic
Okay.
application security testing itself, DAST.
Okay. That source code review will comes under developer side and
On the
right?
developer side, exactly. So this
Yeah.
here we
Okay.
won't be touching the source code. I'll explain some basic code snippets, what is causing the vulnerability, such as an SQL service also. But we won't be going through the exact code review of the entire web page.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Sadik, you were saying something.
Yeah. So you mentioned one tool like Nmap for scanning, no?
Mm-hmm.
So I have used one similar tool like checkmarks report where the vulnerabilities has been shown for that API which I
Mm-hmm.
developed. And one more thing, it's been integrated at with DevOps pipeline like G has. So are these the tools which has been used for scanning only, or we can use Nmap as well in real-time organization level?
Again, depending on what you're scanning, Sadik. So when you talk about Nmap, it is for network and port scanning. For example, if I go to my
Okay,
Kali
okay.
system here,
Uh-huh.
I open up
Mhm.
my terminal here. Now I can run an
Mhm.
Nmap scan to figure out what devices are available in my network. So I can run Nmap
Okay.
and I'll run a, oh, sorry, now lock is off. Nmap, and I can run a ping scan here and scan my entire network and figure out what devices are available first. So Nmap tells you and that you're in your network, these are all the list of devices. Okay. A very
Okay. Okay.
practical.
Okay. For every scanning means networking and that application and databases, there are different tools. You would say.
Right, exactly. For network and port, we'll work on Nmap. And
Hmm.
for vulnerability scanning, we'll go with Nessus. So this is network scanning. For example, a
Hmm.
small example for port scanning. So I have one Linux server running here. Okay.
Hmm.
So if I want to figure out what ports are available on this, I
Okay.
can check out the device IP and I can run some network port scans as well. So there's a SYN scan, and this tells you exactly on the system what ports are open. Okay. And then on those ports, you figure out what exact versions of these services are running, what vulnerabilities are running. So those are other different types of scans. These are the first two basic scan types. Okay. If I show you that scanning document also. So in Nmap, there are multiple scan types. Okay. Each for its own speciality. So again, when you talk about scanning phase, we'll talk about what ports are, what the different categories of ports are, how do you check the port status on your device, what is TCP, what is UDP, we'll cover all that. and what are TCP flags, SYN flag, ACK flag, etc. And then we talk about the Nmap scans. Okay, so these are all the different scan types available. Okay, and on top of that, so what we ran today are these two scans, SN and ST, very basic scans. Okay, they're much more advanced scans. They're much more advanced options in Nmap. It's a very comprehensive tool. Okay, so these are all the options available in Nmap. Okay, and I'll practically show every single scan type, every single option, and it's well documented for you to refer it back and understand what each of it is. Okay, and how do you use Nmap to its full extent. Okay, so it's all practically implemented, everything well documented and in detail for you to understand what tool is exactly being used for what. Okay, where do you use what tool and how is it the most efficient for that. Okay, is that clear, Sadik?
So yeah. As you said, we will be using Kali operating system, but most of the work has been done at Windows or maybe Mac. So if we practice or learn at Kali, how can we implement on Windows then?
With the
That kind of
concept of virtualization. So whether it be a Mac operating system or a Windows operating system, if you are capable of it, you can also run your system with the base operating system Kali itself, if you're that comfortable. If you're not comfortable, if you notice, even my base machine is Windows. But on my Windows operating system, we have installed
Mhm.
an application called VMware. It's a virtualization software. This virtualization
Yeah.
software allows you to run multiple other operating systems on it, as you can see.
Okay.
So with
Okay.
that virtualization concept, we'll run multiple other operating systems in our base
So
machine.
by using that VMware, we will be creating a virtual machine, and on that virtual machine, we will be running that Kali operating system, isn't it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, you've got it right.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So
Right.
no need to buy one more machine for Kali operating system. We can create
No,
virtual
no, no,
machine by using that VMware,
no.
and
You don't
we
need to
can
buy
use
another
virtual machine.
machine, guys. That's very, it's going to be very cost
I
inefficient.
understand.
Not at all required. On
Huh,
one single device
and
itself.
one more thing, I'm not familiar with that Kali operating system as well. I have used mainly Windows only
Uh-huh.
and Linux as well, but not sure about Kali. So it's new for
No
me.
worries.
By the way, I heard for the first time about that Kali
Right.
operating system. So,
No worries. Don't worry at all about that. I'm going to explain in depth, Sadik, completely from the very scratch. Okay. And as mentioned, guys, you don't need separate devices for these different operating systems. On one single system itself, we'll have the entire lab simulation. But condition B, you need a device to perform these practicals on. That is the only prerequisite required. It's a very practically implemented course. So you need at least 80 to 100 gigabytes of free storage on your device, because we'll be installing these other operating systems, a lot of other tools to show you the again the practical environment and the attacks in real time. And for them to run smoothly, you need at least 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, 6 is bare minimum if you don't have 8, but 8 will make things run smoothly at least. Okay, if you have more, much better. If you have 16, well and good, perfect. Okay, but at least 8 gigs of RAM and 100 gigabytes of free storage. Okay, so yeah.
could you please paste system specification in the chat or minimum specs?
Sorry, come again. Sorry.
So minimum specification for the system to run
Uh-huh.
this all. So
Yeah, again, as mentioned, 1 second. So for that
mhm.
is 100 gigabytes of storage, HDD, okay, or STD, anything works, and 8 gigs of RAM, as mentioned. Okay, that's the minimum requirement.
Okay, fine.
Right. Any other questions on your end, love? Okay, guys. So yeah, that's that. As mentioned, the class starts from tomorrow. The first class is tomorrow itself. And at the same time slot, 8 o'clock, we'll have the first networking session tomorrow. I'm going to cover what IP addresses are. Okay. If you're already familiar with that, it might seem a bit boring, but if you're not, it is going to be a very, very interesting class. Okay. So yeah, that's that. Nothing further. I hope you had fun learning some new things today. I hope I could keep your interest, and I hope everything went well with the demo. No audio or video issues. And feedback is very important, guys. Do let me know if I'm going a bit too fast or a bit too slow. Okay, I'll improve on that. Others questions, yeah, love. So they're from a different institute. I couldn't combine your link with theirs. So once I have a confirmed list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine all my students in one single batch. Okay. So since again all of the other students are also demo students itself, I don't have a confirmed list. So once I have the confirmed list, registered list, all of you are going to be in one batch. I'm also going to create a WhatsApp group for all of you where you can interact with each other, ask your questions with each other, and there'll be a community there, okay, where you'll have a much more classroom environment, okay, for interacting with others. So it's going to be a fun session, guys. Okay? So yeah, that's that. Nothing further for the session today. I hope you, again, I hope I could make you learn new things today. That's the objective. And yeah, and please do join the session tomorrow at the same time. As mentioned, we'll have the first networking fundamentals course topic tomorrow conducted. Okay, that's it. Have a good day. Thanks for joining the session today. For any
Yeah.
payment related queries, please contact the respective institutes, guys, from whichever institutes you have joined the session today. Okay, bye bye. Good day. Take care.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye.